Hi, good morning everyone, and welcome to the hands-on training session on Spark AR. Today we have with us Miss Ayesha Nasim. Ayesha is the campus ambassador at Spark AR, and she will be teaching you how to build your AR effects on Spark AR. I hope all of you have downloaded Spark AR Studio and are ready with your laptops. You can keep building your AR effects along with the workshop and submit your AR effects at the end of the workshop on the hackathon dashboard. We will also share the submission link in the comment section. Everyone who submits an AR effect will receive a backpack and a certificate from Facebook Spark AR. Also, there are cash prizes worth $600 to be won. So don't miss this opportunity and submit your AR effects today. Now, without any further delay, let's start the workshop. Over to you, Aisha.
Hello everyone. I'm Ayesha, a Sparkia campus ambassador, and today I will be showing you how to create an AR effect on Spark AR. But before that, let's talk a little about augmented reality and some AR effects, some great AR effects. Why should we indulge in creating AR effects? And then a little career options in AR. After that, we'll indulge into actually creating an AR effect. So I'll share my screen now. Okay, so this is a session on Spark AR, and that's why we are here today. So, in our agenda, in today's talking points, we will be talking about augmented reality first. Then, as I discussed, we will see some cool AR effects. Then, we will see what career options do we have while creating AR effects, and then we'll actually create an AR effect today. So, what exactly is augmented reality? So, according to the definition that you find on the internet, AR can be defined as a system that incorporates three basic features: a combination of real and virtual worlds, real time interaction, and accurate 3D registration of virtual and real objects. So, what this does is basically it overlays an image on your camera. So, it feels like the reality has been augmented. So, do we need to use Spark AR? So, Spark AR is the only platform to create and publish AR effects for Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger. So, there are no other platform through which you can create AR effects and publish them on Facebook. So, Spark AR Studio is the only one. So, why Spark AR again? So, with Facebook's vision for metaverse, you all must have all heard about the metaverse and what Facebook is doing towards it. So, Facebook is bringing AR to the one thing that is accessible to all, that is the camera on our mobile phones. So I'll just show you guys a very cool AR effect for Steve Aoki that was created by Eddie Adams. Eddie Adams is a very famous AR creator and he creates mainly on Spark AR. So Eddie Adams created this AR effect for Steve Aoki, a very famous musician, to promote his latest album, Neon Future 4. So let's have a look at it. So you can see how creative we can get while creating AR effects. So let's see a few more cool AR effects and where we can use them. So there are a lot of uses of AR effects. For example, to promote a cause like Black Lives Matter, we can create AR effects too. This is also created again by Eddie Adams. So this is one way to use AR effects for a good cause. The next is that we can use AR effects for marketing and promotion to promote our brands. So in this filter that we are about to see here, we can use target or object tracking to increase user engagement. And this AR effect specifically is for an ice cream brand, Rosetta. So you'll see now this was also created on Spark AR by a Spark AR creator. So you can see what happened in this filter is whenever a person opens his camera and scans this ice cream label, it actually augments the reality and has floating strawberries and cranberries. So this is what actually augmented reality is, and this is a very cool AR effect. So we can also create AR effects for funds, that is a game. And again, this effect was created on Spark AR Studio. And this is basically a card game, and you'll see how this is so cool. So you can see what actually happened in this effect is the this AR effect actually scans objects on a card and then overlays a 3D model over it and how it interacts with other cards or other models. So there is no limit to the creativity that you can put in creating AR effects. So we can also use AR effect for learning because whenever we indulge and immerse ourselves in an augmented world, it is better for us to learn and understand things. So there's a very popular saying that goes that if showing is better than saying, then doing is better than showing. So what happens is when we are immersed in learning, we understand more than just reading or just seeing a video on it. So let's just look at a few career options that you have when you create AR effects. So you can be a software developer, a 3D artist, a software designer, design architect, and a system validation engineers. Now, these are not the only career option available while pursuing AR because these are just the trending career options that are these careers are trending just now, but there are countless of other careers that you can pursue if you're really interested in AR. So let's get to creating an AR effect now. Okay, so I'll just open Spark AR Studio on my system. And this is how Spark AI Studio's interface looks like. So as you can see, it is version 127, but the latest release that released yesterday is 129. So it's recommended to download that one. So when you open Spark AI Studio, you have a few options. In the top, it says experience. That means you can create a blank project so that you can explore and choose any experience type later. Then you have a sharing experience that are for stories and reels or posts and messages on Facebook or Instagram. And the other option is for video calling experience, that is for real time video calls on Messenger or Instagram Live. So when you explore a little further, you see there are various templates to get quickly started. For example, passing the objects. So you can see a little animation whenever you hover your mouse over it, so you can get an idea of what it actually is. So there are a lot of it, like body movement, animated poster, color portrait, face decoration, face mask, stickers, 3D stickers, hair color, elements, a lot of things. So I'll just get started with a blank project, but I'm looking for a sharing experience. So I'll just click on sharing experience. And why I'm actually having a blank project is because I want better control over what I am doing today. So as you can see, this is how your studio looks like. On the left side of the screen, you can see a scene panel and a layer panel. So you can see the hierarchy. There's a device. In the device, there's a camera, and then there's a focal distance. So there are other two options, that is ambient light and directional light. So you can see this is the directional light. And if you change it, the direction of the light changes. You can hover and see by right clicking on the viewport. So this is my viewport. So you can also adjust it according to your needs. Now, whenever you click on something in the scene panel or the layer panel, in the right side, you get all the properties of it, like which layer is it in, is it visible or not, the color, the intensity. So, for example, if I want to turn the light to somewhat like greenish, so you can see a little is changing, and I can just increase the intensity first. So the light turns a little purplish. For now, I'll just have it white. But this is how you can adjust light on your filters. So what we'll do today is I'll show you how to create an effect for a Mexican taco festival. So when we think of a Mexican taco festival, the first thing that we think of is tacos, then exotic colors, then peppers, and some decorations. So let's just try to inculcate that into our AR effect. So I'll start with a canvas. So what is actually a canvas? So when you click on add, you can see scene understanding, 3D objects, 2D objects, lights, and effects. So when you look at the scene understanding, there are a lot of options like face tracker, plane tracker, target tracker, and hand tracker, and they work accordingly. Then there are 3D effects that you can add and also 2D objects. So I'll start with a 2D canvas here. So in my focal distance, I'll just add a canvas. Now this canvas you can see is selected here in blue. So this is actually my canvas. Now this does nothing. So I just want to add an object in it that will be a rectangle. So you can see it appears here in white and black checks. So I'll just rename this to person because I want the person to appear in this rectangle. Now let's just create a few layers to have our effect look more perfect. So let's just name it person layer and add another layer, call it background, and then another layer and just call it the front layer, the on the very front. So as you can see, according to the hierarchy, the front appears in the top, and then I want it to be the person and then the background. So that's how it hierarchically is. So when I come to my scene, I see the person and I obviously put it in the person layer. Now, what I want is I want to replace the background. You can see it's a white background, but it's not actually white. It's just a null background, as you can see here in the viewport. So I just want it to be a different background. So we'll see how we change backgrounds in our AR effect. So for this rectangle, you can see it is fine here, but I want it to cover my whole screen. Now, I don't know what the size of the device the person will be using my effect in would be. So I'll just select this to fill width and fill height. So no matter what the device is, it fills the width and the height. And then I'll create a material for this and rename this as person mat. Now, always remember to give meaningful names to your objects and materials, whatever you're using, so that you don't get confused. So in the person mat, always in any type of material, set the shader type to flat. Because when it's standard, it depends on how the light is falling on your camera. But when it's flat, it's just what you want it to be according to the PNG. So then now you can see my person has vanished, but let's just wait 2 more minutes and we'll have a person back. Now on the canvas, let's add another rectangle and rename this as background. So again, for the background, I'll put it in the background layer. And now what I want is I want this background to fill the width and the height too. You see, you can adjust accordingly. You can put it to 200. It changes here. But I wanted to fill width and height. So I'll just fill width and fill height. And I'll also create a material for this and rename this as BG map. So now I want my person back. Again, in the BG mat, you always remember to set the shader type to flat. Now I want my person back. So I'll just go to the camera. And you can see here in the left side, there are two options, texture extraction and segmentation. So I'll first extract the camera texture, and the next is the segmentation texture. So you can have the texture for person, hair, and skin, but I'll just choose person here because I want my person now. So then I'll go back to my person mat, and in the primary texture, I'll choose the camera texture that I just extracted, and then I'll click on alpha and choose this texture as the segmentation mask texture. So now you can see I have my person back on the screen. Now for the background, I want to have a PNG on the background. So let's just export it. I want this background, so I'll just drag it to my textures. So you can see it's auto compressing it, but I don't want it to reduce quality, so I'll just set it to none. But you can see the size of this PNG is 4 MB, so it's recommended that it is not that high. But for this effect only, I'll show you how to use it. So now in the BG mat, I select the texture as this image background, and you can see now the background has been replaced. You can also have a GIF sequence in the background or an image in the background depending upon what you need. Now, now that we have a good background for this, let's just add a few banners on this. So I'll on my canvas again create an object and call it a rectangle. And I'll rename it banner 1, let's just say. Now, as you all know, a banner is always on the top. So I'll just set its binding to the top one. You can see when you hover here where the rectangle actually lies. And for this banner, when you can see whenever you select anything on the scene panel, it shows on your viewport that you have selected this one. So when I click the person, you can see I've selected the person. And when you click on BG, you can see I selected the BG. So now I'm working with banner for now. And I want it to be the front layer. Okay, that's correct. And then for the banner, I want it to fill the width. And I can reduce the height a little to 80 according to our needs. You can adjust it here also. Okay. And now I'll import my banner. So before that, I'll create a material for this. So I'll just create a new material and rename this as banner mat. So you can see it is a gray material. Why is it grayish? Because its shader type is flat. So you can see if I click on blue, it turns blue, but whenever I change the direction of the ambient light, it can change its color according to the light that we have. If I add an additional light, it will also change that. So it is always, always, always recommended to set the shader type to flat. You can see this is the original color that I've chosen. But for now, I'll just put it white because I'll import my banner now. So this is the banner that I've chosen. I'll just drag it to my scene panel and not compress it because I want it to be in a good quality. So for whatever PNG you are using, you can download them on the internet that have a creative free license, creative common license, and you can use them in your AR effect, or you can create them on Canva or Photoshop. or Illustrator according to your requirements. So now what I'll do is I have this texture in my assets. Now I want it to be the texture of the banner. So I'll go to banner mat, and then on the texture, I'll just select the texture as image banner. So you can see now I have my banner here. So I'll just go click on banner and adjust it a little bit. So on the viewport, when you click on banner, you get this blue option to select. So you can just select and adjust it according to your needs. So I want another banner in the same size. So I'll just right click on this and click on duplicate. So now I have a banner 2, but I want it to be a little changed in the orientation. So I'll just click on banner 2 and just set it like this. You can adjust it however you want to, but I'll keep it this way. And I don't want this to be in the same layer as the previous banner, so I'll just have it go to the background layer. So you can see these are my two banners that are not overlapping, like not on the same layer. So now that we have a background and a banner, what more can we have? So now you can see a face moving. So let's just work on that. So on the focal distance, I'll add an object that is a face tracker. Now we'll see how to use a face tracker. I'll set the face trackers layer to the person layer because it corresponds the person and the face tracker should be in the same layer. Now to actually be able to use a face tracker, you need a face mesh to add texture to your face. As you can see, whenever I click on face tracker, you can see this arrow here that denotes that you have a object that is tracking your face. And then on the face mesh, you can see a texture of your face here, of the person's face, but it is not showing because of how it is oriented. So I'll just have it in the person layer. And let's just bring the the face mesh in the front so you can see it because there are a little depth issues here. So I'll click on materials, create a new material, and rename this as face mat. Now, when I click on the face mat, always set the shader type to flat. And you can still not see the face mesh, but you can see it at the back of the viewport. And I want it to be in the front of the viewport. So I'll just go to the advanced render option and deselect the use depth test. So you can see now I have the face mask here on the person. Now I don't want it to be just plain white. So I'll also import texture for this. So I have two options here, avocado, limes, and hot peppers. So I'll select hot peppers for now. You can choose whatever you want. It's totally up to you. So I drag the texture here and again, I can set the compression to none because I want it to be in high quality. So then I go back to my face mat and on the texture in the right side of my scene or material, I'll just click on image hot peppers. So now you can see you have hot peppers on your cheeks according to how it is oriented. And you can also set the opacity for it, but I want it to be very fully visible. So I'll just set the opacity to 100. So since this is a taco festival, it is incomplete without a taco. So I'll have a taco on the head of this person. So for that, again, in the face tracker, I'll add an object and you can add a rectangle or a plane, whatever you like. But for this one, I'll just use a plane. So a plane and a rectangle has the same thing. You can see when you select on a rectangle, it is a 2D object with only X and Y here. So, and when I click on the plane, it is actually a 3D object, similar to what we actually know about rectangles and planes. Now I can just pause the video here and adjust my banner. So since I want this to be on the head of the person, So you can see here, there are the three axes here in cyan, blue, and red. So I'll just drag this one up and a little in the front. So now you can see this texture is on the top of the head of the person. I'll also keep this in the person layer. And now you can see this moves with the face according to how it is oriented. Now you can see it is getting a little distorted on some movements. So we'll fix that too. I'll click on materials and create a new material and call it a taco mat. Again, we'll set the shader type to flat. And in the advanced render option, we'll uncheck the use to depth test. So now the taco will always be there. And for that, let me export an PNG of a taco that I have here already downloaded here. So I'll just put it in my textures and again set the compression to none. And now I'll go to my taco mat and choose the texture as the image taco. So you can see it is a little above what I wanted. So I'll go back to my plane, and to adjust better, I'll just pause the video for now. I'll put it a little down, and in the viewport there are three options. One is to adjust the position of the selected object, the other is to rotate it, and the third one is to edit the scale. So you can edit the scale from the viewport itself manually, or you can put in values in the right side of your panel where you can see position, scale, and rotation. So I'll just manually do it for now. I'll make this a little bigger so that it fits the head a little. Yes. So this seems good for now. So it is a little more in front of the person. So what I'll just do is I'll select the plane and send it a little back. Let's see how this works now. Yes, so this looks perfect to me now. So now we have our taco, our banners, we have replaced our background, and we have also added chili peppers to the person's face. Now, what else can we do? So, whenever we think about a festival like a taco festival, there are obviously other decorations. So, let's just have other decorations in my scene. So, for them, I'll export these two pine wheels, and I'll also export this cactus. So, you can see they are being added here. And it's automatically set to be compressed, but you can set it to none. But for this one, I'll allow it to compress because the size was 4 MB and it's a little too big. So now I want them on my scene panel. I want it to appear in my effect. So what I can do is, in the canvas that I have here, you can see the canvas here. So what I want to do is, in the front of the person, I want this spine wheel. So I'll just click on add the canvas and then click on add object and select a rectangle. I'll rename this as a pine wheel. So when I have this pine wheel, I don't want this pine wheel to be in the top, and obviously the layer will be the front layer because it will be in front of the person. So I'll just manually drag this to the bottom. You can also change this location from the scene panel here, and I'll set the pining to the bottom left, and it's a little too small in size for me, so I'll just set it to 150 and 150. You can also edit it here from the viewport according to how you need it. Okay, So now I want this to have this pine wheel. So I'll create a material for this. So I have selected the pine wheel. Then I click on the materials and you can see a plus icon here. So click on plus, click on create a new material, and let's just rename this as pine wheel mat. So when I go to pine wheel mat, I again set the shader type to flat and the texture as the image pine wheel 1 for now. And you can see I have my pine wheel here. Now you know about the properties of pine wheel, right? It should rotate because it's a wheel. So what I'll do is I can rotate this. So as whenever I click on the pine wheel, you can see here an option to animate. You can also do this yourself or use the pre-made animations according to how you want it. But I'll for now show you how to actually rotate this pine wheel. So I'll enable my patch editor. So this patch editor is the logic of how whatever happens in your effect and how things move. So but this is basically like the code for your effect, but you don't actually have to code. So when you double click on the patch editor, I'll just add loop animation because I want the animation to loop. And then there will be a transition. So I'll want a transition. And I'll connect this progress if you guys can see this. This is a progress and looped here. So I'll just connect this progress to the transitions progress. I'll bring this a little here so you guys can see what's happening in real time. And now you can see what I want is I want my pine wheel to rotate. So I'll select my pine wheel and you can see there's start and an end and I want it to rotate on the Z axis. So I'll set the end of the X to 0, the end of the Y to 0 and the Z to be 360. And then while selecting the pine wheel, I'll just see the rotation here and click on this arrow here. It automatically drags it to your patch editor. And I'll connect this to the pine wheel. So now you can see our pine wheel has started rotating. But it is actually rotating at a very, very fast pace. So you can see the duration here. I can adjust this accordingly. It is for now 1. But when I set it to 10, the pace slows down. So this is how you can have your pine wheel rotate. Now, another thing that I want is a cactus. So let's just add an object and click on a rectangle again. It again appears on the top right. And I want it to be on my bottom left. So I'll just drag it here. And I'll set this width to 200 and 200. I can also adjust the pining to bottom left and I'll just put it here. Now I had to bring my cactus in this checkered box. So I'll just create a material for this while selecting this. Firstly, always remember to rename this to, yeah, since it is a cactus, I'll just rename it as a cactus. And while selecting the cactus, I'll go to the materials. So you can see the layer this is in by default is the front, but I kind of want, okay, let's just keep it in the front layer now for now. Then we click on materials and create another material for this and rename this as um, cactus mat. Again, set the shader type to flat and the texture is the IMG cactus. So now you can see I have my cactus here. I'll just move it to a little to the left. And I also want this cactus to float a little in the air. So again, I'll click on loop animation. Okay, for this one, I'll show you how you can do it without actually using the patch editor. So when you click on the cactus, you can see on the right side of your screen a small button called animate. So in this animate, you can see spin, float, blink, and pulse. So I want this cactus to float up and down. So I'll just click on float and it automatically brings it on your patch editor. So now you can see this cactus is floating from a start and end position. The duration is 1. You can set it to even slower, like 2. So now it floats slower than before. The loop animation's progress is connected to the transitions progress, and which is connected to the cactus's 2D position. You can see the position here is in yellow, which means that this thing is in the patch editor and has some logic behind it. So this is how you can create an effect for a taco film festival, and there are countless other ways you can create effects for this. For example, if you have a new year coming up, so combine all the elements that you have of new year. You have Christmas coming up, so you can create whatever comes into your mind when you think of Christmas. You can create an AR effect just to tease your friend on his or her birthday. And there are countless other options. You can create AR effects just for fun. So after I am done and satisfied with my effect, I want it I want to publish it. So what I'll do is you can see on the extreme left of your screen, you can see three things called asset library, test on device, and publish. So when you click on test on device, you can see the effect called preview in app. So what you can do is you can just click send on your Instagram or Facebook, and what it does is it sends a notification on your Instagram or Facebook, the account which you have connected, and you get a link to actually test your effect, like how it works in real life. So this takes a little time at first. So you can publish it by clicking on publish. I'll come back to this. In the meanwhile, you can see it has actually sent a notification to my Instagram. So it says we have sent a notification to Instagram. Open the app to test your effect. And you also get a link here. So this is a test link that you can use to test how your effect works in real life. Because what I have here is a video, and you can also use your camera to test it by clicking here and selecting the integrated camera or the OBS virtual camera depending on how you want it. Right now my camera is on the StreamYard, so I cannot actually do it. But when it is off, or for you guys when you're trying it yourself, you can always select your camera from here and see how it works in real life. So you can also see this for other videos that are pre available in Spark here, so how it looks on other people. So let's come back to publishing our effect. So now that I'm satisfied with my effect, I'll click on publish. And when you click on publish, you get a few options like so since it is a new effect, just click on publish new effect. It's very important to record a short demo video while uploading your effect. And you can either export it and publish your effect manually, or just upload it directly from your Spark Studio, and it is always advisable to upload it directly from your Spark Studio. So when you click on upload, it opens the Spark Hub in your browser, in the latest browser that you just opened. So let's just wait for this for a while. So you can see it opened my Spark Hub in my browser. And then I get an option of publishing an effect. So I can give this a name like Taco Festival or whatever you want it to be. And you can see this is my .ar export file here from that was exported directly from the Spark Studio. That's what it was uploading right now. And then you can select the platforms on which you want to publish your effects. So it is Instagram and Facebook, and this effect cannot be used for video calling because of certain capabilities that I have used, but I only wanted to create it for sharing experience, so that's well and good. Then you can click on existing media so that people who have already have their photos and videos can also use this effect on their photos and videos respectively, or reels. And in the audience you have a public or link only, so it's advisable to have your effect public so that your friends can also use it. But if you have your effect as a link only, the people only those people who have your link can use your effect. So you can see you have your account details here, and then you can select up to 4 categories about what your effect is actually about. So I can just use, I'll select immersive here, and selfies because it is mainly for a front camera, because my effect is mainly for front camera. Then you have an option to add keywords. This is optional, but if you want more engagement, you can include titles like taco, Mexico, and cactus, fine wheel, or whatever you have, and whatever keywords you find relatable, so that people who are in Mexico or want to try out this Mexican filter can use this. So then you have an option to upload a demo video. So you can just capture a video or upload your MP4 and upload image also. So the image will be the image that you see. And for now, I'll just record a video and show you guys how to actually publish this. So I'll have my camera off here for a while. Okay. And I'll close this tab. I'll go to close. Now I'll go to record video and I'll use my camera. Okay, my StreamYard is actually using my camera at all times, so it's of no use for now, but I'll just record this demo video of this video that is actually there in Sparkia. So I'll go to publish again. I have my publish open here, so okay. I'll click on a record video. So it just had a very short video. Okay, it was paused for now, but I can display it. So it's advisable you actually try out the video, and just to show you guys how you upload an effect, I am doing this. But whenever you are doing it, make sure ki you have it using in your real life, for example, on your friends or on yourself. I'll just save this one and click on upload. So whenever it finishes uploading, it will just open Spark AR Hub on my browser. So I'll again give a name, Taco Festival, to this. I have my export file here. I'll choose the publishing platform as Instagram and Facebook, a public effect, and the 4 categories, at least immersive and selfies. And I'll add taco, Mexico, Mexican, etc. And make sure this video is not the actually video of the videos that are available in this backyard, because otherwise your effect will get flagged, because this is just for demo. So I'll the publishing date, you can choose set a time and date, but I'll publish it as soon as possible. So I'll click on submit after I'm done filling in the details. So it takes a little while to upload the file actually. And when this uploading the effect is done, it takes about 1 hour to 5 days to get your effect reviewed and accepted. So your effect will be public only when it has completed its review. So you can see it says your effect is now in review, and it is usually reviewed within a few hours, but it could take up to 5 days. So you click on done. So you can see on my Instagram in the creators tab, it will appear somewhere here. So the thumbnail is what you have chosen as the thumbnail, and there will be a demo video along with it too that you have just recorded. So now on the hackathons page, after you have done registering, you will have an option of submit idea. So on the submit idea, you will see how like you have to submit your effect there, right? Publishing on Sparkyard Hub is not the only thing that you have to do. So after publishing on Sparkyard Hub, you will get two fields there. One will be to enter your Sparkyard effect link, and the other will be enter your Sparkyard effect ID. So every unique effect has an effect ID and an effect link. So where you can find this is where you open Sparkyard Hub, you can click on effects, and this is the effect I have just published. So I'll click on this, and I want this effect's effect ID and link. So what I'll do is on the right, you see three dots, and you see an option to test on device copy effect ID. So this copy effect ID copies the effect ID to your clipboard, and this is what I want. You can see here it is there on my clipboard now. So this is my effect ID. And when you click on share, so it says that people won't be able to access your effect via the share link until the effect has been accepted. So for now, it looks something like this. I'll show you here. So this effect link works only when your effect has been reviewed and it is now public. So this is where you get your effect link. So you have to copy this URL in the hackathon and then this effect ID. So for the hackathon, there are cash prizes worth $600 and a bag and a certificate for everyone who publishes an effect on Sparkyard Hub and then submits it on the hackathon's page. So always remember, first publish your effect on the Sparkyard Hub and then submit it on the hackathon's page after registering there. So let's see if we have doubts now. Okay, so the registration link have been sent to you guys, and also the group of the community. So are there any other queries? Okay, you can use your Facebook account that you have for using Sparkyard of Hub. And if you don't have a Facebook account, create one and then open Sparkyard Hub with that. So make sure you having a Facebook account for this is a prerequisite. And you can see in the comments, you have the link to submit your AR effects on reskill.com/hack/AGI hack. So do we have any more doubts or queries? See, you can find all the PNGs that you want on Google, or you can create them on Canva, however you find it useful. And yes, if you don't have Photoshop, you can just go to photop.com, and it is actually an alternative for Photoshop that you can use if you don't have the whole software in a system. So, do we have more doubts? So this was just an effect I created to show you guys how to work around with Spark Studio. And you guys can go ahead with your creativity for this hackathon and give your best for this. And about the hackathon, again, there are cash prizes worth $600. So make sure you participate in this. And there's back for everyone.
Thank you, Aisha, for a wonderful session.
Thank you so much. I had fun.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope you have learned how to build your AR effects. So, create your AR effects today and submit it on the hackathon dashboard. You can win cash prizes worth $600, and there's a backpack and a certificate for everyone who submits an AR effect. So, don't wait for the last date, submit it today only. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.